I never thought I'd be the guy writing one of these posts, but here I am. If someone had told me a year ago that I would catch my 45-year-old wife with a 20-year-old guy, I would have laughed in their face. Not because I thought our marriage was perfect, but because it felt stable, predictable, safe. We'd been together for 18 years. Built a life, routines, shared friends, inside jokes. She wasn't the easiest person to live with. She was emotional, sharp-tongued, sometimes explosive over small things, but I always told myself that's just who she is. Passionate. Intense. Looking back now, I ignored way too many red flags. It started small. She became glued to her phone. Not in a casual way, more like she physically couldn't put it down. She'd turn the screen away when I walked into the room. Lock it instantly if I got too close. At night, she started taking it with her to the bathroom, even at 2 a.m. When I asked her about it, she snapped. "You're paranoid. It's work. Not everything is about you." That became her go-to line. At first, I believed her. I wanted to believe her. I told myself I was overthinking. That marriages go through phases. But then came the mood swings. One day she'd be cold, distant, barely speaking to me. The next, she'd be overly affectionate, almost fake. Like she was trying to compensate for something. And the fights, they got worse. She'd explode over nothing. I'd leave a cup in the sink, suddenly I was useless. I'd ask a simple question, suddenly I was controlling. Every argument somehow turned into my fault. It was like she was trying to push me away. Still, I stayed. Because that's what you do when you've built a life with someone. You try. You endure. You convince yourself it'll pass. Then came the first moment that didn't sit right. One evening, she said she was going out with friends from work. She dressed differently. Not like her usual casual style. This was tighter. Younger. She spent an unusual amount of time on her makeup. I remember joking. "Wow, who are you trying to impress?" She didn't laugh. She just looked at me and said, "Maybe I just want to feel good for once." That hit me weird. But I let it go. She came home late that night. Way later than she said she would. Smelled like perfume, not hers. Something lighter, unfamiliar. When I asked how it was, she gave short, vague answers. "Fine. Just drinks. Nothing interesting." And then she went straight to the shower. That's when the doubt really started creeping in. Over the next few weeks, things escalated. More late nights. More secrecy. More defensiveness. I started noticing little things, details that didn't add up. She'd mention names I'd never heard before, then later claim she never said them. She'd say she was at one place, but her story would shift slightly the next time she talked about it. It was subtle, but consistent. And then one night, something happened that I still replay in my head. She fell asleep on the couch. Phone in her hand. For the first time, unlocked. I stared at it for what felt like forever. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I knew that if I picked it up, there was no going back. But I also knew that if I didn't, I'd keep living in the slow, creeping anxiety that was already eating me alive. So I did it. I picked up the phone. And what I saw in those first few seconds changed everything. The first message I opened was already enough to make my stomach drop. It wasn't even hidden. No weird contact name. No attempt to disguise anything. Just a name I didn't recognize, and a string of messages that immediately felt wrong. "You miss me already? Can't stop thinking about last night. Next time we won't rush." My hands started shaking. I scrolled up. Photos. Voice notes. Long conversations that clearly didn't start yesterday, or last week. This had been going on for a while. And then I saw it. A picture of her. Not something she ever sent me. Not in years. She was wearing that same tight dress from the night she went out with friends. Standing in front of a mirror, posing. Smiling in a way I hadn't seen in a long time. And the reply from him. "Damn, you don't look 45 at all." That's when it hit me. This wasn't just emotional cheating. This wasn't flirting. This was real. I kept scrolling, even though every second felt like I was tearing something inside myself apart. They were talking about meeting again. About last time. About things they did. Details I wish I could erase from my brain. And then I saw his age. He mentioned college. Exams. Dorm life. I clicked his profile. 20. I just sat there, staring at the screen, trying to process it. My wife, the woman I'd spent nearly 2 decades with, was sneaking around with a guy barely out of his teens. I felt sick. Not just betrayed, but humiliated. Like everything we had built meant nothing. Like I was just the stable option. The boring husband at home while she chased something younger, exciting, reckless. I don't even remember putting the phone down. I just remember sitting there in silence, staring at nothing, while everything inside me collapsed. Shock. Anger. Disgust. Pain. All at once. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those messages again. Her words. His replies. The way she talked to him, it was different. Lighter. Playful. Alive. Nothing like how she spoke to me anymore. By morning, I had already made one decision. I needed to see it with my own eyes. Because some part of me, a stupid, desperate part, still hoped there was some kind of explanation. Some misunderstanding. So I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I waited. That same day, she casually mentioned she'd be busy in the evening. Something about work again. She didn't even look at me when she said it. That was it. That was my confirmation. I kept my voice calm. Yeah, no problem. Inside, I was boiling. The entire day felt unreal. Like I was watching someone else's life. She went about her routine like nothing was wrong. Like she wasn't lying straight to my face. Around 7 p.m., she started getting ready. Same pattern. Different outfit. Again tighter than usual. More makeup. More effort. She checked herself in the mirror multiple times. Smiled. That smile. I used to think it was for me. Before she left, I asked one simple question. Where are you going? She didn't hesitate. Work dinner. I told you. Another lie. So clean. So effortless. She grabbed her bag and walked out the door. And I followed her. I waited a few minutes, then got in my car and kept a distance. My heart was racing the entire time. I felt like I was about to do something I couldn't undo. But at that point, there was no turning back anyway. She didn't go anywhere near her office. She drove across town. Parked near a small apartment complex. And then, I saw him. Standing outside. Young. Casual. Looking around like he was waiting for someone. For her. She stepped out of the car. And the way she looked at him. I knew. Before anything even happened, I knew. She smiled. Walked up to him. Put her hand on his chest like it was the most natural thing in the world. And then he kissed her. Right there. No hesitation. No doubt. Like they'd done it 100 times before. Something inside me snapped. All the denial I had left, gone in an instant. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't confusion. This was a full double life. I sat there, gripping the steering wheel so hard my hands hurt. Watching my wife, act like I didn't exist. Like our life didn't exist. They laughed. Talked. Then went inside together. And that was it. That was the moment everything became real. I stayed there for a long time. I don't even know how long. Minutes. Hours. It all blurred together. I thought about going in. I thought about dragging her out of there. Exposing everything right on the spot. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the shock. Maybe it was the realization that nothing I could do in that moment would fix anything. So I just drove away. Slowly. Silently. With one thought repeating in my head over and over again. It's over. I didn't go home right away. I just drove. No destination, no plan, just trying to outrun the images stuck in my head. Her hand on him. That smile. The kiss. At some point, I pulled over in an empty parking lot and just sat there in the dark. That's when the anger really hit. Not the shock. Not the disbelief. Pure anger. 18 years. 18 years of loyalty, of building something real, of staying through her moods, her outbursts, her constant accusations that I was the problem, and this is what it came down to? Her sneaking around with a 20-year-old kid? I remember laughing. Not because anything was funny, but because the absurdity of it all was too much to process any other way. Eventually, I went home. She wasn't there, obviously. The silence in the house felt different. Heavy. Like everything inside it had changed without physically changing at all. I sat in the kitchen for a while, staring at nothing, replaying everything from the past months. All the fights. All the lies. All the moments I blamed myself. And then something clicked. She wasn't just cheating. She had been setting the stage. Every argument, every time she made me feel like I wasn't enough, it wasn't random. It was intentional. She needed to justify what she was doing. If I was the bad husband, then in her mind, she wasn't the villain. That realization made everything worse. Because it meant she knew exactly what she was doing. Around midnight, I heard the door. She walked in like nothing happened. No guilt. No hesitation. Just casually taking off her shoes, putting her bag down. I stayed in the kitchen. Waiting. She noticed me and froze for a second. Then her expression changed instantly, defensive. Why are you sitting in the dark like that? You scared me. I didn't answer right away. I just looked at her. Really looked at her. And for the first time in years, I didn't recognize the person in front of me. Where were you? I asked. Same question as before. Same lie. Work dinner. I told you. She didn't even blink. That was it. Something inside me snapped again, but this time it wasn't explosive. It was cold. Controlled. I stood up, walked past her, and grabbed my keys. What are you doing? She asked, her tone already shifting. Come with me. She frowned. It's midnight. I'm tired. I'm not going anywhere. I looked at her. You were just out for hours. You can handle 5 more minutes. Now she was irritated. This is ridiculous. If you have something to say, just say it. I stepped closer. I did say it. Come with me. There must have been something in my voice, because she hesitated. Then she rolled her eyes dramatically, grabbed her coat, and followed me outside. The drive was silent. She kept sighing, checking her phone, acting annoyed. Can you at least tell me where we're going? She snapped at one point. I didn't respond. When we pulled up to the apartment complex, I saw the moment it hit her. Her entire posture changed. Tense. Alert. What is this? She asked, her voice suddenly sharper. I parked the car. You tell me. She let out a short, fake laugh. I have no idea what you're talking about. Of course she didn't. Even now. Even here. Still lying. I stepped out of the car. She stayed inside for a second, then followed, clearly uneasy now. Seriously, what are we doing here? She said louder this time. I turned to her. I know. 2 simple words. But they landed. For a split second, her mask cracked. Then it came back stronger. No what? She shot back instantly. You're being insane right now. I took a step closer. I saw you. Silence. Just for a moment. Then she exploded. Oh my God, are you stalking me now? That's actually disgusting. What is wrong with you? There it was. Deflection. Attack. Blame. Exactly like every other time. But this time, it didn't work. Are you really going to do this? I said, my voice steady. Right here? I don't even know what you think you saw. She snapped. You're making things up in your head like you always do. I just stared at her. Waiting. Giving her one last chance. She crossed her arms, glaring at me. Say it. She challenged. Go on. So I did. You're sleeping with him. The words hung in the air. Heavy. Final. Her reaction was instant. Denial. That's insane. He's just 20. I cut in. He's 20. I saw him. I saw you. Don't lie again. That's when everything changed. Her expression shifted. Not to guilt. Not to regret. To anger. Cold, sharp anger. So what if I am? She said. Just like that. No hesitation anymore. No pretending. Maybe if you weren't so boring, I wouldn't have to find excitement somewhere else. That hit harder than anything. Not because it was true, but because of how easily she said it. Like I meant nothing. Like everything we had meant nothing. I felt something inside me finally settle. All the confusion. All the doubt. Gone. Replaced by clarity. You're done, I said quietly. She scoffed. Oh please. You're not going to do anything. I shook my head. No. I am. She rolled her eyes again, turning away like she was already over the conversation. That was her mistake. Because she still thought she was in control. She wasn't. Not anymore. She really thought I was bluffing. That I'd go home, cool off, maybe yell a bit, and then everything would go back to the way it always was. That I'd stay. That I'd tolerate it. That I'd accept being second place in my own life. She didn't understand that something had already broken inside me, and there was no fixing it. The drive back home was quiet. She didn't say much. Just a few annoyed sighs, like this whole situation was an inconvenience to her. Not a betrayal. Not the end of a marriage. Just inconvenient. That told me everything I needed to know. When we got inside, she went straight to the bedroom like nothing had happened. I didn't follow. I stayed in the living room, stood there for a moment, and then I started moving. I grabbed a bag. Not in anger. Not in chaos. Calm. Focused. I packed only what I needed. Clothes, documents, essentials. Each item I put in that bag felt like a step further away from the life I thought I had. She walked out halfway through, leaning against the doorframe, watching me. "What are you doing?" she asked, almost bored. "I'm leaving," I said. She let out a short laugh. "You're being dramatic." I zipped the bag. "No. I'm being done." That seemed to irritate her more than anything. "Where are you even going?" she snapped. "You're just going to throw everything away over this." I looked at her. Over this? For a second I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd realize how insane that sounded. She didn't. She rolled her eyes. "It's not like it meant anything," she said. "It was just something different." That was it. That was the final nail. Not the cheating. Not the lies. That sentence. 18 years reduced to something different. I nodded slowly. "Good," I said. "Then you won't have a problem losing it." She crossed her arms. "You're overreacting. People go through things. It happens." I picked up my bag. "Not to me. Not anymore." And I walked out. No shouting. No dramatic scene. Just done. The air outside felt different. Lighter. Not because I felt good, I didn't. I felt empty. Drained. Like something had been ripped out of me. But underneath all of that, there was clarity. For the first time in months, maybe years. The next few weeks were brutal. Lawyers. Paperwork. Dividing everything we built together. She tried to reach out at first. Not to apologize, not to take responsibility, but to argue. To twist the story. To somehow make it my fault again. I didn't engage. I had nothing left to say. Eventually she stopped. And just like that, it was over. 18 years, reduced to signatures on documents. I still think about it sometimes. Not about her. About the version of my life I thought was real. The trust one had. The certainty. It's strange how quickly that can disappear. If there's anything I've learned from this, it's this. Pay attention to the small changes. The things that don't feel right. Don't ignore them just because you're afraid of what they might mean. And most importantly, don't stay somewhere you're no longer respected. Because the moment someone treats you like an option, you need to remember you have the power to walk away. I did. And even though it hurt like hell, it was the best decision I've ever made. Update. It's been a few months since everything happened, and I figured I'd give a small update. The divorce is finalized. Clean break. No drama left in the legal sense, just paperwork and silence. I moved into a smaller place, nothing fancy, but it's mine. Quiet, in a good way this time. As for her, I heard through mutual friends that things didn't exactly work out the way she expected. The exciting situation didn't last. Apparently, reality caught up fast. I didn't ask for details, and honestly, I don't care anymore. The biggest change is internal. I'm sleeping again. Thinking clearly. That constant tension I lived with for months is gone. It's strange how you don't realize how heavy something is until it's lifted. I'm not rushing into anything new. Just focusing on myself, rebuilding routines, getting used to peace. Still hurts sometimes, but it doesn't control me anymore. And that's progress.